Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today is the 3rd of October, 2025. Good Friday afternoon for those of you at work, getting ready to get off work and enjoy your weekend. It's roughly 5 p.m. Sorry, I had to look on my personal computer here and see what time it was. And I just popped off a couple of quick videos that were lighthearted, a little cheerful, a little inspirational. And I'm following up with one now that is not so lighthearted. It's definitely not inspirational, and it's a little bit darker on the subject matter. And if you'll excuse me, from time to time, I'm going to defer to my computer here to my immediate left to read a couple of items and to explain why I'm making this video at all. Most recently today, if not in the last 24 to 48 hours, we've been told of an individual down in Portland who happened to be either a journalist, podcaster, a combination of the two, who was rousted by Portland Police Department because he dared to defend himself against the tender mercies of the Antifa crowds surrounding the Portland ICE facilities in Oregon. They arrested him for defending himself. Today on the news, the spokesperson for the White House came out and literally said that the president is now looking into defunding federal funds for the state of Oregon, especially the city of Portland, because of this nonsense. Media should be concerned over this nonsense, and so on and so forth down the line. This is a podcaster slash journalist who got rousted by the Antifa folks, tried to defend himself, and now has federal involvement to the major degree that the Portland police did not arrest the assaulters, they arrested the assaulted. What is wrong with our country? I'm not here to talk about that gentleman's plight. I understand, yes, it is egregious. Yes, it is dangerous for the precedent it sets. But if we're upset about that, I need to roll the clock back to the day of 2023, around August the 17th, 2023, no less, to remind the people here in this state, to remind the people here in this country, and to remind those individuals at the White House what took place in California in a little town called Reedley. The little town of Reedley, California, during that time frame, had a government worker that turned out to be a state worker, thank you very much to whoever that gentleman was, that saw something suspicious or out of place, and due for his duties and responsibilities, chose to investigate further instead of to ignore what he saw as a complication and or a problem. What he uncovered, however, was the start of a nightmare that you only see or read about in newspaper stories, fictional accounts, or maybe even a movie about the very topic I'm getting ready to talk about. What this gentleman found in Reedley, California, operating, functioning, and storing was a Chinese biological, chemical, and warfare lab operating within the confines of the state of California. And just as quickly as that was found, and the media pounced on that announcement, and they started reporting things that were transpiring, here's one of the story that came from one of those media announcements. The Newsom administration has muzzled Fresno County's disclosure of the Reedley so-called COVID lab, county officials claim. The lack of information on this lab was that it was the governor's administration who stepped in to silence its announcement. COVID lab. That's not what was initially reported. It's reported as a biological warfare lab. Reedley, California, some little town, some little place, some little city, some little area. Nobody really, it's not the top of your tongue of list of things or places to visit. But the fact that this lab was even operating in the state of California is hell of a lot of bothersome to me as a former military member of the United States Army. And it should be of great concern to anybody in the former military, especially when you have a so-called governor who is on the cusp and who has been on the cusp of looking for presidential aspirations. Mr. Newsom has chose by his actions, inactions, lack of or thereof, to ensure that this lab not only operated, because somebody allowed it to be built, somebody chose the site, somebody provided the materials, somebody allowed it to operate, somebody maintained the operations, and when discovered, somebody allowed it to be disassembled, somebody allowed all this stuff to be moved away, and somebody covered up its existence. Do we blame the local county officials? Fresno County officials who may or may not have known about this endeavor? Do we blame the city officials who may or may not have known about this endeavor? Do we blame the government and the administration of Gavin Newsom who may or may not have known about this endeavor? There are a lot of questions. What was going on in this lab? Was it biological chemical warfare that was being produced, or was it truly some nonsense about COVID that was being developed? What happened to the mice that they found there? And according to the news reports, there are over 1,000 bioengineered mice that were at that facility. Was anything properly stored? Did anybody clear any of this with the federal government or Homeland Security? You don't allow somebody else's country to instill a lab of this nature in your own country and nobody not know about it? There's a lot of questions here. There's a lot of problems here. But because this is California, it is not unusual to believe, and the way that Gavin Newsom has treated our potential foe across the Pacific Ocean, i.e. China, that he would concoct some kind of a deal for his purposes and our demise or at our expense. This is just one example. My concern of this was that it was reported, but nothing came of the reporting. Just as fast as it hit the news was as fast as it disappeared from the news. Just as fast as people bring it up about what happened 2 years ago, the memory fades, Prop 50 takes over, and everyone forgets about what happened. I would venture to say not a lot of people remember even what was going on at this time in Reedley, California. But this candidate does remember, and he does want to look into this further, because I have a problem with this whole concept of what was uncovered, what took place, and how it was handled. This is kind of a darker video than the two that I've just previously posted, because my intent here is to get resolution and answers and to hold those people responsible for what was allowed to transpire in this little town called Reedley, California. And so I'm making this video right now. I'm going to follow it up on Twitter, X. I'm going to follow it up on LinkedIn and other social media outlets. I'm going to email the news media about it with this video included. This news clip that, as I look over here, was from The Sun. I'm going to follow all of this up, and I'm going to send this out to the news media, to their editorial boards. I'm going to follow it up with the video. I'm going to follow it up with the articles and the things I have saved during this time frame, because what I'm going to also do is to send it to the following agencies: the President of the United States of America, the Vice President of the United States of America, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of War, newly named, and the Department of Justice. And what I will be looking for as a candidate is I'm going to call on all of those individuals in charge of those offices to do the following on behalf of the citizens of California and at the behest of the request of a candidate for this state. What I would like to see is the involvement of the DOJ to do the following. A, I need this investigated to find out who was involved, how they allowed this facility to operate, who allowed it to be disassembled and made to disappear right under the very noses of the government officials who claimed they never knew it existed. I would want those individuals also in these offices to investigate where the money came from to not only build but maintain and allow this facility to operate. Who funded it and where did it come from? Where was the funding coming from? I would like them to investigate the purpose of this facility and what happened to all the specimens in it, from the so-called biochemical warfare agents to the mice to everything involved with this lab facility. And lastly, I'm calling on the government, especially the Department of Justice, to do the following. Upon the conclusion of their investigation as to who, what, where, when, and why, I would like to see any individual who had a hand of this If the Department of Justice seems fit to see if there was any state law and or federal law that was violated here, and to charge those individuals appropriately up to and including conspiracy to commit treason against the United States of America and treason itself. This is not a joking matter of what was discovered back in 2023 outside or inside the little town of Reedley, California. This is a very dark and serious footnote in our history right now. If a man can be charged for defending himself against the Antifa radicals in Portland, Oregon, and the police willingly allow the attackers to go free and arrest the person defending himself, there's an issue. If you have a person seeking the highest office of our nation that is allowing this to happen as a governor in the state of California, what the hell would that gentleman allow inside of this nation as president? These are serious charges, allegedly, if you want to include that word for protectional purposes. But these are serious charges. And I would like the DOJ to investigate these charges with just as much zeal as they are investigating everything else that is wrong in certain areas throughout our nation. But this is a big one. This impacts national security, that we allowed a foreign agent and a foreign country to operate something of this nature inside the confines of the United States, much less the West Coast and much less California. This is a problem for the military to have something like this. God forbid if anything would have came out of this in the negative, if something got loose, if something got turned on our citizens because of failure of equipment, failure to supervise, manage, or monitor any of the agents that they were producing. We don't know what the hell kind of impact that would have left in our state, that community, our country, nor would we have any idea of how long it would have lasted. Its impacts, financial and otherwise. This was egregious, a willful disrespect of the functionary duties of the governor of this state. This was beyond negligence. This was incompetence. This was a dereliction of duty of a grotesque manner, a willful mismanagement. And basically, this is something that should follow Gavin Newsom for the rest of his living days on this planet. You, sir, are not fit to be in charge of a shoe shine store, much less the government of the United States of America. Nobody in their right mind should ever allow you to get close to the White House other than to be a visitor to somebody or to see what the Capitol looks like from inside. Your negligence here is abysmal and it's shameful. The fact that you willfully put the task to hide what happened when it was found out is also disgusting and shameful as a governor for this state. You have no honor, sir. You have no morals. You have no base of grounding in anything, much less considered to be a man that's upright and outstanding. The trust and confidence of you is negligent, if not outright gone beyond negative. Yes, these are harsh words for an individual who is our governor in name only, that you never see, that's never around unless it's politically expedient for him to be around. And so with this video, I want people to know, as a candidate, I'll be posting this video very shortly, merging it with the post I've just put out there, minus the video, and I'll ensure that I include all the names that I've stated previous of where I want this to go. There's a 3-step process to this, and I'm going to do it step by step towards the final goal of having to see these people brought to justice to answer for what happened here. We're going to have an accounting of what transpired. We're going to hold those individuals responsible. This is not platitude. This is not ego. This is not a phony filing of a lawsuit against Governor Newsom to stop a proposition. I'm telling you, this is going to happen at some point, and it starts today. And hopefully the DOJ will take this up. They will look at it with the sincerity of what it is. They will look at all the facts, and they will make that determination, and we'll let it go from there on what they determine. But it needs to be investigated, it needs to be looked into, and it needs to have a response as to why this was allowed to happen, why it was allowed to operate, and why suddenly it disappeared, with everyone saying they never knew it existed. The people of Reedley, California deserve an answer, a respectful one, in order to instill trust in their government and their government individuals there. The people of California need to know what the hell was going on in their state and who allowed that to transpire in order to trust their government and the people they vote for to run it. The folks of the United States of America definitely need to know what the hell was going on in California so they can know who not to vote for when they try and put themselves on a ballot to run for president of the United States of America. If you thought Joe Biden was bad, if you thought Jimmy Carter was bad, Governor Newsom, Gavin Newsom, you might as well just hand the keys over to our foes, because that's exactly what he would do for this nation at the expense of the citizens that are in it. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Leo Naranjo IV. I'm a Republican candidate trying to run for governor, like many other people here in California, but I am running for governor in the 2026 election. Please take this to heart. Please look into this. Please go back through, fact check, read up on it, verify what's there and the problem therein. And make these people have an answer for you. Make these people give an answer of what happened and why. Don't let this disappear in the volumes of history that are passing by us every day. Don't let this be lost in the context of we have to save the state and we have to vote no against Prop 50. I get all that. But this should never have been allowed to happen in our state at all. My oath to this country was to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. My oath was to the Constitution of the United States of America. And what happened here was a blatant disregard of everything any governor takes an oath to represent for this state and for this nation. God bless each and every one of you. Please look at my website if you want more information, leonaranjo4governor.com. And take this to heart, because these are the things that set us apart from other people, how we deal with adversity and how we come out of it better and stronger than when we entered into that problem arena. This needs to be dealt with. It needs to be handled. It needs to be handled quickly, fairly, and it needs to definitely be handled honestly. And again, thank you very much. Each and every one of you have a blessed weekend. Have a wonderful night, and I hope to speak with you all soon down the road.